All right, 9-10 matchup tonight. Kings and Warriors. Warriors
This
on
one
the
I'm
road.
excited about.
Warriors on the I mean, look, Warriors have
they're
been
both
awesome
great
on the road lately. 17 of their last 21 they've won. Kings scuffling a little bit, but still plucky. They lose Malik Monk. They lose Kevin Huerter. They're going to be asking a lot of De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis tonight before we get to the predictive models and the lines and all that stuff. Just like 30,000-foot view here. What do we think? Can it be a game? Can the Kings maybe stay in this?
I actually think they can. I think with this being a one and done, this one is a one and done situation. The loser eliminated, right? So the Kings and the Warriors sometimes have these very weird games and they seem to get on each other's nerves and to do it well. I've seen Kings games versus the Warriors that they've just demolished them. I've seen Warriors games where they've done the same. I've seen games where it's come down to the wire. Now, to your point, those games 9 times out of 10 have involved a more complete Kings team than we're going to see tonight. So that is something definitely that leans me more towards the Warriors side. But also on the Warriors side, you have a guy by the name of Draymond Green, who's a ticking time bomb. And all you need to do is push the right button to get him to react and completely remove him out of the equation. I don't know if that's the game plan for Sacramento. I'm not saying it should be the game plan. I'm just saying if I was in a Sacktown jersey, that would be my game plan. Just going to put that out there.
Yeah, this is a great – and by the way, the Mike Brown thing is really interesting too. Head coach in Sacramento was the number 2 guy in, for 6 years, I think, or somewhere in that range in Golden State. I mean, you're right about Draymond. He's a ticking time bomb, but he's the bomb that's going to go off and I think impact the Kings in a bad way. Maybe he'll detonate if they make a 7-game series in a bad way for the Warriors. Anybody can win these games. It's one game. It's one game. I love the Warriors, John and Ash. I think they're the better basketball team. You go, and we've talked nonstop about this, but it's still true. Since Draymond Green, you can measure it however you want. You go back to when he got reinserted the starting lineup. You can go to the All-Star game. They're just a different basketball team since Draymond Green stopped being an idiot, if I can use that word, and started just being a basketball player again. The Warriors have so much more experience. I think the Malik Monk thing is really, really significant. Yeah. Give me the Warriors. I like the Warriors to win the next 2 games. I certainly think they win tonight.
They split the season series 2-2, and they were pretty close on points per game, but the Warriors shot the lights out against them, 52% against the Kings this season, and the Kings about 45% from the floor. And as Bill mentioned, when you don't have Malik Monk coming off the bench, you're asking a ton of Fox and Sabonis, and you need more from Keegan Murray. Keegan Murray, I thought was going to take the leap this season. He's been good in spurts. There's been stretches where I'm like, oh, that's Keegan Murray that we've all been promised. And then there are games that he kind of takes off. The rotation, I don't know if you guys have checked out the rotation the Kings are running out there without Malik Monk and Kevin Huerter. You're getting like big Davion Mitchell minutes. You're getting big Trey Lyles minutes. There's
Davion Mitchell, dude.
There are games when Alex Len is getting run out there. They had Colby Jones. They had Sasha Vesnikov having to play some minutes before getting DNPCD'd. I mean, they're just throwing anything they can out there. Mike Brown is trying all these different combinations. I'm not sure that any of them will work. I do want to run this past you guys, though. Bill just said that he likes the Warriors to win the next 2 games. No 10-seed, small sample size theater has ever made it out of the play-in. We think this is the year? I mean, what happens if the Lakers fall down?
So here's the thing, and that's a point that I thought that just hit me that is interesting. Maybe it won't go this way, but if the Lakers lose tonight, I almost wonder if they should be rooting for the Warriors because the Kings have owned Sabonis has owned Anthony Davis this year. It's been an interesting level of I don't know how well the Lakers actually match up against the Kings. Anyway, to answer
that's crazy talk.
I'd
much rather have the Kings.
I hear what you're saying, but Sabonis has dominated AD this year. And
he has.
Producer Aaron pointed this out, he's afraid of him.
Not just this year, and predominantly most of his career.
So the game I went to with Henry a few weeks ago where he met Jeannie Buss and hung out with the Lakers girls, I mean, Sabonis just bullied AD. Anyway, yes, the thing is I think the Warriors can, but it's a coin flip twice and or close to it. So even if you're 60-40 twice, your odds are still only 36. You're 1/3, right? Even if you're good, if you're sort of a slight favorite in both those games, which they probably won't because they're on the road. But I'm not willing to give up on Steph yet. And maybe it's emotional. Maybe it's just because I love him as a player and I love what he's done. And I don't want to think about the window closing on this season and the seasons ahead, but I'm maybe hard overhead. I'm here for the Warriors to win tonight and beat whoever the hell they play in the next one.
So is the NBA, if we're being honest. You
Yeah,
don't
it's
want
true.
either of these teams to get bounced.
Right.
You want both of them in the playoffs, both of them facing each other, if possible, at some point later down the road. So if you're into conspiracy theories, it's gonna be the Warriors. If you're into the other side of things where you don't believe in the script, you're probably thinking go either way. I think that it should go the way of the Golden State Warriors tonight. If everything goes according to plan for the Golden State Warriors. And for me, that plan is named Draymond Green. I need Draymond to just control himself, not take the bait, and just play his game, and they'll be fine. The Warriors have a lot more than the Kings have on the roster right now. Not saying that if this was a fully stacked Kings team, we'd be looking at a similar result or having a similar conversation. But they're at a disadvantage right now. They're a little bit weak in the way that they're constructed currently because of everything that they're lost and they've been dealing with. The Warriors should take advantage of this easily. Not easily, but they should take advantage of this.
Yeah, they're 2.5 point favorites. The predictive models have them at 51%, so it's a kind of a coin flip. I will say, though, on those predictive models, the Pelicans and the Lakers are heavily, heavily favored to make it into the playoffs proper. There's a reason why no 10 seed has ever made it out. It's a tough road. I mean, they have about a 25% chance, both the Kings and the Warriors, to make it into the playoffs proper. Yeah. So, yeah, you got to win too, and it's a tough game. Man, can you imagine, though? We're talking about, obviously the NBA, and for us too, I would guess, from an entertainment standpoint, would much rather have the Lakers and the Warriors make it into the playoffs proper. But can you imagine nightmare scenario where neither of them make it, and you get the Pelicans and the Kings out of it? That would be an absolute disaster.
I mean, this is, so we keep talking about this,
but not probable.
No, I mean, all these teams are pretty good. And so it's not, there are no Chicago Bulls, Atlanta Hawks on this side of the bracket. All of these teams, those teams aren't very good, Ash, is what I'm saying.
Why'd they catch a stray like that? That was me.
Because they're not that good.
Nobody's looking forward to that game.
Nobody cares about.
Listen, Chicago took us to the mat in a game that they should have.
Who's us? This podcast?
No, the Knicks. They took us to the mat in a game that they should have just mailed
Ashley's playing for the Knicks now. She does have a jersey with her name on it.
Oh yeah. When's that getting hung up behind you? When are we doing that?
I got to figure out where to put it. I don't know, but yeah, when I say us, I mean the New York Knicks.
It is expensive.
Chicago's
to frame a jersey.
I don't think Chicago's as bad as their record shows that they are. Just to come to their defense, I think that there's a lot of talent on that team. It just hasn't been able to be recreated in a way that is successful, if that makes sense. I wouldn't go as far as comparing them to the.
I think every team in the Western play-in, other than the Kings, are good enough to make a conference finals. They won't because of the road, but I think that we have talked at one point this year, each of you have made a case at one point in this podcast this year for the Warriors, for the Lakers, and I know, John, you have for the Pels to be good enough to make a conference finals. So it's not outrageous, even if they're in a bad moment.
The bloom is a little off the rose on that for me, but I do like talking through this with everybody.